Rhaegar gets to Bran. Ah yes, here I am, finally, at last, here in front of you, Bran Stark, the ultimate goal of my campaign. Yes, this is where I am, wonderful. It is now time to kill you. I am reaching for my weapon now, which I will use to kill you momentarily. Here I go, drawing my weapon to kill you with. Almost there, just a little further. Hey, what's that? Ah! You almost got me, but I noticed. Now it's time to stab you with my weapon. Have you seen season 7, fucko?
This is a show about ninjas.
Rip Rhaegar. And Cersei is the final boss. This show is dead now. Arya killed the show. This is so fucking stupid. Like, that was the long night. It wasn't even an hour and a half. All that build-up. 8,000 years of spooky legends and apocalyptic prophecy, and all it took was to pull off a whooshy-swishy knife trick. They could have sent Carl fucking Tanner up north to deal with it if it was that easy. And the little psycho doesn't even have the courtesy to die while doing this. The ultimate climax to the entire story happens with Arya shanking a dude she's never met while Jon yells at a dragon and Bran checks his emails. No, the army of the dead was just a side plot, idiots. The real deal is the Pumpkin Queen and the cosplay enthusiasts down south, you fucking morons!
You would think the Night King would take some kind of precautions when he knows they have Valyrian steel and obsidian, which apparently kill the White Walkers, including him. He's not immune. But yeah, basically, Arya goes up. She runs up. It jumps on the Night King's back and stabs him. And that's the end. He dies. And the army of the dead dies. They all collapse. The undead dragon, whether it's Rhaegar or Viserion, I don't fucking know. The undead dragon collapses and dies. And that's it. That's it. I thought, like, well, is there a hook? Like, is there a catch to this? Like, that can't be it. That can't conclude the whole White Walker storyline, right? That can't be it. But then in the episode 4 preview, they're like, well, the Great War is over. We won.
We have won the Great War.
What? Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? That's it? That's how the story of the White Walkers ends? Arya runs up behind the Night King and stabs him. That's it? Are you fucking kidding me?
You know, I know I'm going to get crap for this, but I did feel like it was a bit anticlimactic because you're right. This was like their first real showdown with the Night King, and then they were able to defeat him pretty soundly. And on top of that, I was really emotionally stealing myself for losing a lot of main characters, and that's kind of what they had set up. And I think a lot of the things that I think are my issue with it are my own expectations versus reality, and that's why I do want to give it another watch, and I know that my opinion might change, but I really had felt ready to be like have my heart ripped out of my chest and stomped on, and that didn't happen. We'll get to the people that we lost in this episode in a little bit, but no Starks died defending Winterfell. You know, all it took was like when all it took, I know I'm going to get flack for this, but, you know, it just took defeating the Night King after everyone else. And on the first kind of attempt or second attempt, I guess, after Jon tried to face him, he was taken down. So I'm left feeling like it was all a bit easy, with the understanding that the irony is it's taken this long to get to this point. But
it's the final confrontation with the White Walkers. It was hyped up a lot. So it not living up to it is not really too big of a surprise. I still think it's a very good episode overall. The real problem I have, okay, well, I have problems with the episode, which I might do a review later, but right now, let's talk about the ending. The ending, how the Night King is defeated, is the most frustrating thing in Game of Thrones ever. It's one of the most frustrating things I've ever felt in regards to a television show. Arya taking out the Night King is the dumbest thing. The dumbest thing. I can't. Oh. All right. I'm back. Okay. So, Arya taking out the Night King. Here's the thing.
But that's how it ends, folks. That's all, folks. That's how it ends. Arya runs up behind the Night King and stabs him. And then all the White Walkers and all the Whites die. The army of the dead is defeated. What? This is what I've been waiting 10 years to see?
But I can see how people were really upset with that. I don't think I was as upset because, again, I knew that the Night King was a construct of the show. So for me, it wasn't that much of a buildup. I'm more upset that winter never came. I thought for sure it was going to, and that the land would be covered and everyone would be barren, and the land would be barren, all the people would be starving, and that they would be reaching some very desperate times, especially in Winterfell. I really thought that a lot of Winterfell would be just hanging on by a thread at this point, but they all seem to be doing just fine despite all of this promise of winter. So
Arya has nothing to do with the Night King. She never met him. She doesn't even know what he looks like until she went to go stab him in the back. That's how she found out who he was. She never saw him. She had nothing to do with the White Walkers. She didn't even know the White Walkers existed until the last season. Meanwhile, Jon Snow has spent the entire show warning about them, fighting them, knowing about them. And he's not even there for the end of the Night King. He's off screaming at a dragon, trapped in a courtyard. He didn't do anything pretty much the whole episode.
I have no problem with that. I have no problem with Arya being a badass. She's been a badass for 3 seasons. Zero problem with that. My problem was the blue balls effect. How many seasons have they told us that winter is coming and the Night King is this amazing force to be reckoned with, can't be killed? The freaking Lannister army was a cover fight. Jon Snow had a worse time in the Battle of the Bastards than he had here.
I did.
Yeah, I just don't like the Night King anymore. Like, after watching this, I fundamentally dislike that character. And not because it wasn't a cool character, because it was a criminally underused, underdeveloped, and then at the end of the day, like, poorly written character, even though he had no lines. Right? He did so much cool stuff, and every time he saw him, he pulled out a new trick. And then at the very end, he has no new tricks. He doesn't do anything special. The scene where he was like approaching Bran, and they had the music, and it was like, oh my God, Bran the Night King, finally we're going to see what these two can like do. This could be crazy. Nope, nothing. They just stared at each other, and he was like, I'm going to let the music swell, and I'm going to pull out my sword. Oh, Arya! I know I enjoyed the episode, but at the same time walked away like, man, that's depressing.
It's exciting. It does feel like something's about to happen. I'm like, man, is Bran about to warg into a dragon? Is he going to warg into Theon? Is Arya going to change her face and hide? Is she going to use some of that faceless man magic to win the day? Is Melisandre going to do something? Is the Lord of Light going to come in? Are we going to actually see the prophecy fulfilled? And then you see like a gust of wind go by a White Walker's hair when there's like 100 people surrounding Bran. And then out of nowhere, literally out of nowhere, Arya just jumps up onto the back of the Night King. And you're like, where the fuck did she come from and how did nobody see her? She has superpowers. It doesn't matter. Then it seems like he's going to kill her. And I'm like, fucking perfect. Kill Arya Stark right now. This is it. This is the moment, D&D. But no. She drops the knife into her other hand and she kills the Night King. We have no idea what he was doing. He's just a bad guy. Nothing's explained. I guess the Lord of Light's real. We don't know what Varys heard in the fire.
Season 1 started with the White Walkers. This series is supposed to end with the White Walkers. That's it. That's what 8 seasons have been leading to? Are you fucking kidding me? Arya runs up behind the Night King and stabs him, and that's it. They're done. It's over. They win. Are you fucking kidding me?
Welcome back, everybody. Gary here from Nerdrotic, and we need to talk about Game of Thrones. Is it pointless from here on out? Well, the last long night lasted generations, but it's obvious what they did wrong. They didn't have an Arya, or it would have been over lickety-split with respect to Ed, Jorah, Melisandre, and Theon. And what we are left with after the long night of disappointment is yet another franchise.
I can't believe that they set up the White Walkers in the pilot in episode 1 for 7 seasons, 8 years, 9 years, however long it's been in the actual show since there was a delay. And this is the resolution, the Night King story, the prophecies, the everything, the apocalypse, and he is resolved in one fucking episode. Doesn't say a damn word. He basically turns in. They built him up like there's something more to the White Walkers, and then they abandoned that.
The showrunners said they had Arya kill the Night King because it was unexpected. And Game of Thrones has always had surprising twists, like when the main character, Ned Stark, died in Season 1, and the deaths of Catelyn and Robb at the Red Wedding. But those twists had meaning. They showed how honor and love can get you killed in a world of treacherous politics. What's the meaning of Arya jumping from nowhere to kill the Night King? That it's cool to be a ninja? That Arya's dehumanizing, murderous, hate-fueled quest was good? And where does that leave Jon and Daenerys? If their destiny isn't about beating the White Walkers, what is it about? Taking the Iron Throne? Because the whole point of the Walkers is to show that the throne is irrelevant. Human greed and pride will only lead to our self-destruction. The Walkers are an apocalyptic threat that forces humanity to abandon their petty power struggles and unite. The North, the Wildlings, and Daenerys come together to face a true enemy. But
the last 4 to 5 seasons have been about the White Walkers and the Night King and how that's the real threat, and that all that other stuff doesn't matter, that everybody doesn't have to come together and take out the White Walkers. Okay? That was what was most important. They've done that for seasons now. They've said that's the most important thing. Here we are halfway through the season. Night King's dead. Fine. Whatever. The whole point of having the White Walkers and the Night King be the big bad and the big point of the show, that's obviously out the window.
The Night King, the White Walkers as a threat, as a bad guy in the series, was only just a sub-boss, which makes no fucking sense to me. I thought they were going to tie everything in at the end, and they still have a chance to do that. But the main force is gone, so that's irreversible. Here's what I want to make a point about that, is that the main force of the White Walkers is gone. The Night King is destroyed, maybe, more than likely. But with all that, and with the resolution of this episode, Cersei has killed more important characters. Joffrey has killed more important characters. Walder Frey, by that extension, has killed more important characters. The Lannister army themselves is more effective than the White Walker army. An army of infinite dead. I can't believe it.
Either tonight or tomorrow. And I am very angry. I'm sure you can all imagine why.
I heard it's like 8 seasons of build-up just fucking thrown away. Is that true?
God. From the fucking prologue of episode 1, they built up these fucking White Walkers. Fuck it. I'm not gonna say it all here because I don't have enough time. But from the fucking first episode, they've been building up these goddamn White Walkers in this fucking battle, only to then be like, oh yeah, the White Walkers are fucking retarded. They're going to do the dumbest shit ever. And then, actually, more so the people are fucking retarded. Yeah, let's throw all the Dothraki in the fucking front line. They all...
They never really told us what the Night King did.
I don't know.
Like, what Bran was doing. They they built this whole thing up for 8 seasons and, like, never really explained it.
Okay, so what's the aftermath of this episode?
3 episodes left.
Yeah, what's the upshot? They got to clean a lot of stuff up.
By the way, yeah, I will say that there were a couple of directions they could have gone in. I kept waiting for, a surprise, some sort of twist, whether it was the Night King saying something, whether it was Bran gets taken out, Daenerys becomes the Night Queen, something like that. But I think maybe...
And the Night King, I was like, damn, the Night King looks like a complete badass. And I'm just thinking in my head, oh yes, the main event has come. Then Arya disapparates out of thin air. The Night King grabs her. I was screaming, kill her, please. She drops the dagger and into her other hand, stabs the Night King, and he explodes into the little shards. And it's amazing how you can love something up into one pivotal moment, like a couple seconds, and then bam, you absolutely hate it. I literally wanted to cry when Arya killed the Night King. No bullshit. I paused it and literally wanted to cry. Now we get that Melisandre bit about saying you'll shut blue eyes. But I thought it could have meant just the whites, not the White Walkers. Because I was like, the writers aren't that stupid to try to subvert expectations. But then by doing so, you ruin the biggest plot of your show.
As you can tell from the title and my face right now, I am fucking pissed. I have never been this angry at Game of Thrones, ever. There's been a few times, such as killing off Stannis, and, you know. But this is a new level of stupid. This show had a little bit of my respect when it did some stupid shit with the dumb writing in season 6, 7, and 5. But, the show's honestly lost all my respect at this point. I am so angry, I'm so furious, I'm disappointed. As you can tell from the bags under my eyes, I'm very mad at this fucking episode. Now, I understand a lot of people probably loved it, and I get
he got lured into the Godswood and the Night King got taken out. And we were expecting, you know, for him to, you know, kill Bran, or maybe someone else comes in and like takes the power of the Night King and becomes like a Night King or Night Queen or something, or like literally anything but what happened.
Yeah, I saw that a lot of people were saying she was a Mary Sue, and to that I gotta say, no, she is definitely not a Mary Sue. Did anybody at all watch the past 7 seasons? Don't get me wrong, I'm not a big fan of her killing the Night King at all, actually. I thought her killing the Night King was not the best decision, and Maisie Williams thought so too, actually. There was an article from Entertainment Weekly where she says that when they did the table read for it, she knew the fans wouldn't like it, and she too was a little iffy on it. And to be fair, I haven't been a fan of the character since season 7. She feels completely different than the Arya from previous seasons. Almost as though she was written by someone entirely different, and that is kind of the case.
It's not a good story. Arya's story clearly existed within the context of all the people that wronged her. Her character was centered strictly around the characters like Cersei and the Lannisters and the people that had killed her family. That's what her arc was meant to lead up to, or be built around, right? And the character that was clearly set up around the Night King and the White Walkers was obviously Jon. And you don't need to have some switcheroo in order to make that interesting. I still don't like the idea of Jon defeating the Night King decisively in this episode and that being the end of the story. That still has many problems, but it's clearly a step up from just Arya somehow running past a crowd of White Walkers unnoticed and just beating this guy with not a lot of effort required. And then boom, that's the end of that entire arc.
The Night King walks up to him, and the Night King's like, he starts to grab at his spear, or his ice sword, or whatever the fuck it was, to kill Bran. And then Arya comes running up from behind, despite the fact that all of these White Walkers are lined up behind the Night King. Arya comes running up from behind, jumps on the Night King's back, tries to stab him. The Night King does catch it, but then Arya does the Mare Sue move, where she drops her dagger into her other hand and then stabs him in the gut, and then that kills him. So, let me rewind a bit.